G'day fellas and welcome to a casted game. We are here on the brand new patch for Age of Empires 4. A few civilizations have been buffed, a few have been nerfed, and you're looking at one of them that has received barely any changes. Today we've got an absolute banger of a matchup for you. One of the older civilizations, the Ottomans, up against a brand new civilization, Zhu Xi Legacy. So let's dive in and introduce our players. Spawning in the west side of the map in the color green, playing as the Ottomans, currently rank 226. It's Zyro Timorous. And on the east side of the map, currently rank 107. Playing in the pink as Zhu Xi's Legacy, we've got Lash. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're enjoying this casted content, make sure you leave a like on the video. It really helps out with the traction of the content. And let's talk a little bit about what we've got for us today. We've got a fun matchup. A matchup that, in my opinion, is favored highly towards Zhu Xi's Legacy. However, that's on a condition. That's on the condition that Zhu Xi's Legacy is going to play in the Feudal Age. If the Zhu Xi Legacy player goes up to Castle Age, they will eventually be overwhelmed by the amount of units that the Ottomans are putting out. However, if the Zhu Xi player stays in the Feudal Age, masses up Zhuge, spams those bad boys out, he should be in a pretty good position throughout the game. We'll ride on board with our Ottoman player and see how he's doing, as he's done a nice little defensive loop, came out towards the middle, went down to the south, a pretty standard loop, and he's picked up about 5 sheep, which is very, very nice. Compare that to Lash, he's got 4 sheep at the moment. He's done something very, very similar, so I'm a big fan of what they've gone for here. Nice, safe, easy openings here. Now, one of the things to look out for here is going to be the placement of the Meditation Gardens. The Meditation Gardens, of course, is the notoriously good landmark. There's not very many good spots for it, though. I mean, unless you want to go chuck it in front of your base, maybe over here, that's about the best spot I could see. Alternatively, I guess you could probably throw it down just below the berries, which would get you gold, stone, and berries. In fact, that's probably going to be the best spot for you. But sometimes it can be a little bit finicky with its placement. You got to be really careful when you place it down, because it can be a bit buggy as well. But we see that age up about to come through for Lash. He's just about to hit enough resources, and he started rallying a villager over onto wood now. Tell you what, you can age up so damn quickly as the Zhu Xi Legacy. But speaking of aging up, have a look at this on the other side of the map. Zyro Timorous. Now I'm going to be looking to age up with the Ottomans. I'm suspecting we're probably going to see the Twin Minaret Madrasa. He's got a lovely little spot for it right here. Let's see if that's what he goes for. Indeed he does. Perfect placement. So no macro police going to be called on this day. No tickets going to be issued. No citations going to be noted here. Twin Minaret Madrasa perfectly placed. Let's check in on the other side of the map as we expect to see the Meditation Gardens coming down. Oh, he's heading up north. Oh, where's he going? Oh. No. Oh. Okay, he came back. I saw the villagers on the move. I'm like, oh. Because this is a big attractive target, right? You see 8 of these, 8 times 8, I think it works out to be. So you're talking about 66 resources coming in for the food and then just a little bit of wood. But I think he's probably done the math and he said, you know what, it's probably not worth it. And I would agree. If you had a gold over here or a stone, then it would definitely be worth it. But this is going to be about the best spot you can get. And you can see that he does kind of collide here with the Meditation Gardens. I'm hoping that he gets the stone in this one. It's hard to tell, actually. No, he should get it. Yep, I think he gets it. So that'll be pretty nice for him. About 100, 108 resources, somewhere in that region, which will be very, very healthy for him early on. Let's check in on the other side of the map, though. Jumps coming through on both sides. Zyro Timorous with 4 villagers on stone, so we could have a 2 TC play here. It's always something to keep in mind with the Ottomans, is they can go for that early military school, but they often look to put down that second TC instead. But it does look like we are going to have military schools coming up for him. And I'm loving this timing. It makes a lot of sense, right? Often people will look to the Ottomans and say, well, how come you didn't go for the military school in the Dark Age? And the reality is, you're just not going to get much value for it. You're going to get a couple spears, but up against a civilization like the Zhu Xi's Legacy with Zhuge, it is a questionable decision to be going for it. So throwing it down and then getting the age up through, he'll immediately be able to get Sipahi out. Now, Sipahi are actually pretty good in this matchup, but it's going to be on one condition. And that's on the condition that they've got a meta nearby. The meta always needs to survive in the fights, because what the meta is going to do is it's going to take the Sipahi from 2 armor up to 3 armor. And then from there, you're also going to get +1 ranged armor, which is going to take you from 3 to 4 ranged armor. And that is the breakpoint you need against Zhuge, because they only do 5 damage with their +1 ranged upgrade, which means you're only taking 1 damage per shot, the same way that the French Knights only take 1 damage per shot as well. But obviously they don't need a meta with them. So that's what he'll be looking out for here. Straight into Sipahi, though. Now the second military school comes up. Still got villagers here on stone. Could look to be pulling these off at 100 just to save for the military campus, but it does look like he will stay with it here. So we could potentially have a second town center on the cards here for him. It's a little bit of a passive opening. It does take some time to build, and this is part of the reason why often when you're playing up against civilizations like the Holy Roman Empire or the bigger chads as the Ottomans, going for the military school early like this can be a bit difficult to justify. But we do see those villagers did indeed get moved in off the stone. A little bit of over-gathering, but we're not gonna side him on that. It's not a big issue. Archery range coming down now. Distinct lack of a blacksmith. I'm hoping he's gonna be able to fit one in here, but I'm fearful that this archery range may actually... Pixel perfect, baby. Well played, Zyrotimorous. Let's check in on the other side of the map, though. See how Lash is doing. As we've got ourselves a... Okay, what's going on, Lash? You've got no Song Dynasty. You've got no second TC. You've got nothing going on in your base. What's happening here? We've got Wheelbarrow. Okay. Double Broadaxes in. All right. No specialized pick. No horticulture. But you do have a racks down, and you do have an archery range down. It feels a bit strange to me to be going for these. Like it just feels strange. That's all. I mean, I can't say anything else. Just it seems strange to play Zhu Xi's legacy this way, right? Like often you look at Zhu Xi's legacy and you're thinking, you know, what are my bonuses? My bonuses are Song Dynasty. I get cheaper buildings, and then I can get a cheaper town center from that. So we often look to that, and that's one of the things in this matchup that you can actually get away with as China. Now, I haven't done the testing for timings against the Ottomans with Zhu Xi legacy, but as far as I'm aware, the Zhu Xi legacy timing is actually significantly faster than the Chinese. Chinese, you want to go for 2 TC Song Dynasty, you're going to be looking at a 6-minute, I think it's a 6-minute timing on that second town center. Maybe a little bit later, maybe 6 minutes 10 with those town center changes. Remember that the town center did get nerfed recently. They added an extra 50 stone onto it. That was probably a couple months ago now. But that extra 50 stone just delayed it a slight amount. And the Zhu Xi's legacy can do it in 5 minutes and 10 seconds. So they're a full minute faster out of the gates. And on top of that, you throw down your archery ranges and you're just going to start to notice that you've got so many damn units because of your Jiangnan Tower, which we don't see out at the moment, but of course it will provide those extra units. But a bit of an interesting style here coming out from Lash. Just kind of, if anything, I'm looking at this style and the one thing that's pointing out to me, there's no obvious win condition here for Lash. If anything, he's playing in the hands, or playing to the hands of his Ottoman opponent. What's the win condition that Lash is going for? Often when we think of Zhu Xi Legacy, what's the win condition, right? It's 2 TC. It's Song Dynasty. It's being able to get to my farm transition faster than my opponent. Being able to just pump out units non-stop. Once I hit Castle Age, I can hit him with Palace Guards, Horsemen, all that good stuff. And yet we don't see any of those win conditions lining up here for Lash. In fact, we see quite the opposite. We see he's going up against a player who's going to have military schools, who have just started to kick in now. We're starting to get those free units online. And so naturally, his army is going to start building up slightly faster than Lash's. It's going to take time, but he will get there, and he will eventually overwhelm him. Now, one of the things that Lash does have going for him is he's got upgrades on the way. He's got the double broadaxe. He's got the wheelbarrow. These are key upgrades, and you can see he's got plenty of villagers here on wood, and he's doing a great job of spending his wood. However, wood's not going to be a win condition here. So we'll have to see how he does it. At this point in time, though, my money is on Zyrotimorous. Things can always change very, very quickly. You've got to remember, in these games, they can be very cutthroat. When you have a big fight, you know, might be the difference between having a meta and getting the meta sniped out that may be the difference in those fights. So we'll have to keep an eye out for that. But looks like, do we have a bit of a Castle Age? Not really. I thought there might have been a bit of a Castle Age, but I think he's just picking up the upgrades. Just looking to get his +1 range attack, +1 ranged armor. Very important in this matchup. Whenever you're playing up against the Chinese or the Zhu Xi Legacy, you want to try and prioritize that ranged armor. It is so important because it's going to significantly reduce the amount of damage you're receiving. So at the moment, the Sipahi has got 2 armor. If we take a look at the Zhuganur, it does 5 damage, which means 3 damage after armor per bolt. They do 3 bolts, which means 9 damage total that you're taking. By getting 1 armor in, you change that from 9 damage down to 6 damage. When you bring the meta in and give it that ranged armor, it goes from 6 damage down to 3 damage. And that's the power of that ranged armor. So we really want to try and prioritize that, reduce the enemy Zhuganur damage by half at that final level, which is very, very nice. But more archery ranges coming in. It looks like these players are gearing up for a feudal fight, but neither of them looking to really commit. And you can see that Lash is going to be spotting out this production. And this is a bit of a giveaway, right? Like, he sees the villagers on gold. He says, okay, 5 villas on gold. That's kind of, it's on the higher side of villagers on gold. I'll say that much. Could be a Castle Age. How much was taken off that? Let's quickly check. 3,200. It could be a Castle Age from what Lash is seeing. How does he respond to that? Let's check in on the other side of the map. Does he transition vills to gold to respond to that? It doesn't look like it. His macro is really good at the moment. Have a look at this. Very solid macro. Is it just because he's got a whole bunch of Zhukanur? No, he doesn't. He's got a whole bunch of archery ranges. His macro is really on point right now. This is quite nice. So while he doesn't have, you know, an obvious win condition, with macro this solid, like, you have a look at the difference here. You got more than 1,000 resources being stacked up. That's like 10 Zhukanur. Scout will spot out this army on the field. We'll see there's no ranged armor, and now he knows this is the time to strike. You want to get in before the ranged armor. If you can take that fight before the ranged armor, you can have a massive advantage. It's going to increase your damage up against those cavalry units by double. It's going to increase your damage against those archers slightly. Not a huge amount, maybe 20%, 25%, somewhere around that region. Look at the Zhukanur numbers really starting to come out now. Zara Timurus has got to do the right thing. He needs to fall back. He spots out this army on the way. He needs to wait for this +1 ranged armor. Not long to go, and he's doing the right thing. He's falling back. Even though he's got the mill up, even though he had the deer out here, he's fallen back. He knows how powerful those Zhukanur can be if he doesn't have the ranged armor upgrade, and he waits for it. Definitely the right call. Both of these guys, remember, they are Conqueror 3 players. They know what they're doing. And now the Zhukanur are online. They're here. 20-unit advantage at the moment for Lash. You know, just when we were talking about win conditions, all of a sudden Lash is like, actually, Drongo, I have a win condition. I just make units and then I win. All right, well, let's see exactly how it goes. 58 versus 35. He's going to cop a little bit of damage there on the front. Hold on, we got to check that meta. Make sure he's on the ranged armor. He is on the ranged armor. So 4 ranged armor in total. Zhukanur just going to be backing away for the moment. Could have taken out the mill. Still, I feel like he probably still could have put pressure on here. Is Lash going back? I think Lash is going to be going back and looking to drop battering rams potentially just to help out with the pressure. You don't really need to do battering rams with Zhu Xi's legacy if you got this many Zhukanur if you're not attacking the town center. If you're attacking the town center, then it does make sense to be going for that. But let's check in with him and see how he's doing. Blacksmith will click it. No siege engineering yet at this stage in the game. On the side of Zara Timurus, though, he's going to be looking for his Bloomery upgrade, get those early melee upgrades in, and now we also see Wheelbarrow coming in, so a little bit late for him. We'll switch it over to income per minute, get an idea of where these guys currently sit. 1.05, about 1.3k coming out for Zara Timurus. Compare that to his opponent, and we've got some pretty decent numbers over here, almost 1.5k. So a slight advantage at the moment to the Juicy Legacy, but that's going to be largely because of your Imperial officials buffing up absolutely every resource they can. We've got our food back here, which he's still on at 12 minutes, by the way. Incredible stuff. He is also down here to the south side. Outposts coming out. Looking to keep these villagers safe, but there's plenty of units here. We'll cop a couple of shots there. We did see the arrow slits, not the arrow slits, the hand cannon slits had come through on this outpost, so we'll be able to help defend in the event a raid does come through. And the numbers for Lash looking solid, but I think he might be going towards Castle Age here. Teeing up a Castle Age, realizing he doesn't have the threat that he thought he did. You know, maybe he was expecting a Castle Age to come out from his opponent, but have a look at this, Zara Timurus. Going to be going to Castle Age himself. Now, have we got a third military school? We do. Military campus is online. Have a look at this. Second TC in the back of the base. Zara Timurus being very, very sneaky. Now, I wonder, did Lash see this? We'll have to wait and see. Montlu Academy now going to be coming out for him. Looking to get some of those Imperial official upgrades. Interesting to see the Montlu Academy coming out here over the Shaolin Monastery, but I think this is a trend that we will probably continue to see. Whenever you're playing this larger feudal age presence, it feels almost natural to go into the Montlu Academy. You want those upgrades. You've got your 4 Imperial officials out on the map, doing things, you know, having a good time. You want to upgrade that number. You want to go up to 6 Imperial officials. You want to have them move around faster. You want them to supervise better, and that's why we go for the Montlu Academy. It makes a lot of sense here. Even though he's only on 47 villagers, it still makes a good dent in the things, in the size of the economy. Single whip reform, expect to see it coming through shortly. More Zhukanur now, and we see those key upgrades coming in for the Zhukanur here. The 2 key upgrades I always talk about, +2 ranged attack, aka balanced projectiles, and veterancy for the Zhukanur. So what he wants to do right now, ideally in this situation, what you would do is you would find that archery range and you would supervise it. Get the supervisor on the archery range, get that right up there, and you want a supervisor on your blacksmith. And what you're going to be doing is then pushing at the same time that these upgrades are coming through. And hopefully you take a fight right as your upgrades come online. Don't give your enemy the opportunity to get up to Castle Age. Don't give them the opportunity to get the 2 ranged armor. And then you're able to go from having 1 damage on this cavalry up to 3 damage, tripling your damage in the space of just a couple of seconds. So a really, really cool technique. We don't see it utilized here today, but he may look to push out once those upgrades come online. But remember, it comes back. Oh my gosh. Remember, it comes back to the tempo of those upgrades. That's what's really important. If you can get those upgrades in instead of in a minute, in 20 seconds, well, that's going to change the the outlay of everything. MIA on the way through. It's only a matter of time until the Manganel arrives. And Lash is going to understand that, so he knows he needs to strike quickly while the iron is hot. +2 ranged armor also going to be coming in. Doesn't look like he's supervising. Actually, he is supervising it. So he did get the memo from Drongo. Uncle Drongo came through with a little bit of a memo. Said, hey, you got to supervise those bad boys. And we see them on the way through. He knows how important this timing is. Veterancy coming through for Zyro Timorous. He's actually cancelled it. Did he cancel it? I'm 99% sure he cancelled the veterancy on those archers. I don't know what for. Was it just for a couple more units? Oh, he's training a Manganel. Oh, that's why. He's training a Manganel. Very, very smart. It's going to be a 2-minute wait if he wants to go for Manganels on that MIA. But if you train a Manganel, that is going to take your opponent by surprise because he's not expecting it. This is the unexpected Manganel right now. Because you know, as a Zhu Xi player up against the Ottomans, you've got a timer right now. You've got 2 minutes that I can play with you while you do not have that Manganel out. But what he's going to find out the hard way is that a Manganel has indeed arrived. The shot comes over the top. A big hit as well. He wasn't expecting it that early in the game. And now we can see the absolute chaos that is unfolded as a result of a single Manganel causing massive damage here. Keep in mind the military population difference between these two. Lash with about double the military pop. But the problem's going to be that Manganel. He can try and dive it. The issue that he's going to have is this cavalry is going to tear him apart. And the Mango continues to get off great shots. Every single time it fires, it's getting off a couple of extra kills. Have a look at the health here. He's going straight for the center of the clump. Gets up one of them on the backside and will defend there. The hero Manganel that we needed. That will save the game right there. That single Manganel is actually what saved the game. That is such a big brain move coming out from Zyro Timorous right now. Looks like the meta will go down. Veterancy comes through. On the archers, a little bit more damage. I think he's got +2 ranged armor as well, which should help him out a little bit here. But the Manganel, it's come forward. You can see he's thinking about moving for it, but the second Manganel's also arrived. Geez, just when we were talking about the importance of upgrades, Zyro Timorous says upgrades. Psh, forget those. We've got Manganels, baby. Right there. I'm going to be honest. That is an absolute beautiful response to that Zhu Xi Legacy timing attack. I am absolutely flabbergasted at how smart that was. As I mentioned, one of the most common things you see players do is wait for that MIA, and they're sitting around waiting for it, and often they will die while that Manganel is sitting in the queue at the MIA, because look, at 5 seconds, 4 seconds, Zyro Timorous would be completely dead if he had waited for that. So instead he does the big brain thing, gets the Siege Workshop, gets the Manganel out, makes sure it's within the radius of the Blacksmith, so it's getting that extra 30% increased production rate. And now he's in a really good spot. 3 Manganels out. This is a dangerous amount of Manganels. This is an amount of Manganels that can one-shot any ranged unit on the field. Hand Cannoneers, Grenadiers, Crossbowmen alike. They will get absolutely obliterated by this Manganel. And because of that, this is now where you need to start thinking about going into Springles of your own, and that's exactly what we see here for Lash. Definitely making some smart moves here. He can also think about adding in some Nest of Bees for himself. The issue is going to be that Cavalry may make an appearance on the other side. And because of that, you might need to opt into Spearmen, but then you start talking about changing the composition completely. And this is why we often say that the Zhugunu fall off in the Castle Age, because it's a bit of an awkward spot, right? Because you can't play, if you play Spear Zhugunu in Castle Age, Men-at-Arms are going to destroy you. If you play Zhugunu, realistically, Zhugunu pretty much anything. Like, it's good very early Castle Age, but that's about it. They really do fall off the longer the game goes on for, until you get to Imperial Age. Once you get to Imperial Age, you've got those 4 upgrades for the Zhu Xi Legacy that you can get for a beautiful timing attack. The question's going to be whether Lash looks to Imperial Age. I suspect he's probably not. I mean, he's got the military for it, but it's only 36 Zhugunu. It's nothing to write home about. If it was, you know, your classic Don Artie 170 Zhugunu ready to go, then maybe you could. But in this case, not going to happen, Chief. Let's check in on the other side, though. Zyro Timorous continuing to build up those numbers. Relics, none yet picked up. 5 still down on the ground. The mosque has come up for him now. He will be looking to try and pick these up. There's plenty of them out there still. Actually, did we just see one picked up? We literally just saw one picked up. The monk going to be able to snipe it away. Monastery on the front line. Is it just me, or is the Chinese monastery the best looking monastery there is? It's such a good looking monastery. I love it. I love the aesthetic of Chinese. Of the Zhu Xi Legacy. I know a weeb is like, a weeb is someone who like is obsessed with Japanese culture. Is there a word for like people that are obsessed with Chinese culture? I guess you could probably just still call them weebs. I don't know. Maybe that's my age showing there. It's probably my age, isn't it? Yeah. I'm sure that there's a word. I'm sure that that's a whole thing. I know there's a couple of content creators online that do content around that sort of thing. I know Jake and Bake. He's really, really funny. I like watching him. He's a cool guy. We've seen him before. That's more of like a Twitch thing, though. I don't know. You guys probably don't watch a whole lot of Twitch if you're on YouTube. Oh, maybe you do. I don't know. I'm shouting out these guys all the time. I'm telling you to go over and check Twitch out. So, go check it out. Go check them out. All right, well, the numbers continue to build at this stage. And the one thing that is standing out for me is just these Manganels. We need a big response to these Manganels. We need to make sure that we have got something to deal with that, whether that be cavalry, whether that be Springled. And we know the Springleds are coming out online, but you've got to remember that one of the keys to the Ottoman is omnipresent siege. They have always got siege pressure being exerted by the MIA. They don't have to think about it. They just click a button, and it naturally will trickle that siege onto the field. And it might seem like, oh, that's a basic landmark, but you've got to just always keep that in the back of your head. There's always going to be a threat of siege. If you go Imperial, there's going to be the threat of Great Bombards. If you stay Castle Age, the threat of Manganels. And so playing a heavy siege game as your opponent is going to be pretty much mandatory. But now the numbers starting to build here for Lash. Checking in over on that other side. The strong build up, and behind this, look at this production going to start coming down. It's just a matter of time until these two players look to connect. Question's going to be about when they decide to do it. At this stage, the walls continue to move towards the center of the map. Really interesting walling, but I guess that's probably about the best you could do. Very peculiar monastery spot as well. I will point that out. More relics coming through for these players, and now we start to see, has he got scouts? He does too. He's got scouts just chilling out around the sides of the map. He's got two of them at the moment. A little bit of knight action or lancer action on this south side. Villager's going to get caught out of position. The lancer comes in. Big charge onto it. It's only the one villager at this stage of the game. And can I just comment that still at this stage of the game, Lash is only on 1 TC. Playing as the Zhu Xi Legacy, 1 TC. It's not, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. We got to call the macro police. We got to call them at this stage. 22 minutes into the game, 1 TC as the Zhu Xi Legacy. For a civilization that gets so many bonuses to its economy, you really want to try and make sure that you are taking full advantage of that. But now Spearman also joining out on the field. The numbers are starting to improve for him. He's got 88 military pop with the 15 siege as well. Springle numbers are pretty decent here. Zyro Timorous is going to be looking for those units. Keeps everybody together in a big pack. The Manganels are unfolded, unpacked, ready to roll. And this could be it. Lash in position. He's trying to snipe out that meta, doing a decent job. But now the Springles on the backside, looking to tee it off. No nest of bees here, but it's not going to matter. He needs to make sure he hits those mangoes. All the Springles are on the front line. He's made a massive mistake. He's made a massive mistake. He's traded out his Springles for the opponent's Springles, and look what remains. It is 3 Manganels, and now he's brought his own nest of bees to the party. He's trying to get some damage out, but unfortunately, there is an enemy Springle that's going to be able to take it out. Triple Mango. He needs to fall back. He needs to supervise more Springles. You can't be rallying units into this. You need more Springles. We've got to get... Where's our Imperial Official? Get the Imperial Official on that Siege Workshop. Don't be running to the front, Imperial Official. I know it's a hurry, but we got to get you supervising on the Siege Workshop right now. We need you in here, stat, sir. Please, Imperial Official. Oh, he's not doing it. Oh, it's going to be a slow and steady death. No, Lash, don't do me like this, son. I believe. I believe in a thing called Lash. That's a good song. Anyway, Zyro Timorous at this stage. Army looking very formidable. Absolutely destroys his opponent when it comes to siege. That's a massive mistake. We often talk about macro mistakes. We do that on the Patreon, so if you haven't already, make sure you go check it out. It's pretty decent over there. We got lots of coaching content, but one of the big things we don't talk about are micro mistakes. That right there was a micro mistake. And why was it a micro mistake? He had the same amount of Springleds as his opponent. So what happens is if they trade out Springleds, if he takes, I'm going to take my 4 Springleds and I'm going to kill your 4 Springleds, but you're going to kill my 4 Springleds with your 4 Springleds, okay? So now we've both got no Springleds. There is an elephant in the room, and that's the Manganel, because when it hits hard like an elephant. So what do you want to do in that situation? You've got 2 options. Number 1 is go back and get more Springles, and number 2, go for the Manganels instead. They take 2 shots. You can try and get them off. You should be able to if your micro is solid. And he's going to be able to hit the first one now. The Springles coming up, looking to go for a decent little spot. Look at the Zhuku numbers now. They are building, but the Manganels, looking for the RKO. Are they going to find it? First shot comes off, goes a little bit short. Second shot going to go a little bit long. Manages to hit a little bit on the backside there. 2 units going to go down. Lancer's on the front. He's going to keep the micro up. It's so hard right now. Look how much damage these Manganels are doing. You can't forget about them. I tell you what, it makes it so damn difficult to play this game, because if you forget about them, they're just going to get those cheeky little shots off. Manganel shot. Nice little damage coming through. Look at the archer numbers. He's just done such a wonderful job of whittling down these units. The Manganels being the hero of the game. He's going to continue kiting back towards his base. We hear another Vizier point coming through for our Ottoman player, but I don't even think he's going to need it, to be honest. This army's looking formidable. He can pretty much just switch to battering rams now, as long as he's got siege engineering through on the front line. Get a couple of them out, and you're going to be in a wonderful position. Big mango shots. He does eventually lose that mango. Might have to fall back. The trebuchet's out. Never mind the battering rams, and he is targeting that siege workshop. He knows how important it is to get that siege out. But you can see, even right now, like the power of a nest of bees. Imagine a nest of bees. No, not the barracks. The siege workshop. That's right there. Oh, you hate to see it. You hate to see it. The Zhuku able to take out the meta behind things, but unfortunately, it's not going to matter. The power of the archer is too strong. Crossbowman on the back line as well. They're tanking up plenty of damage here, but I don't think it's going to matter. I think this might be a game right here. He is overwhelming the base of Lash at this stage of the game. We're going to bring that UI back in as that siege workshop is slowly going down. 64 versus 13 military population. The nest of bees does arrive, but is it going to be able to survive? Looks like it's slowly taking damage here. Siege workshop under pressure. Now it's being burnt down. Plenty of units here for our Ottoman player. It's just not going to be enough for Lash. I think he might be done. You know, we were talking earlier about win conditions. You know, what was the key that we highlighted? We highlighted that Lash ideally wanted to go for a second TC, at least Song Dynasty. Didn't go for it, and as a result, doesn't have the economy when he needs it most in the mid-game, and that's going to be it. Fellas, make sure you go check him out. I'll leave a link in the description of where you can watch Lash live over on Twitch. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll catch you guys in the next one.